Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have just been given evidence towards a Doomfist cinematic, which could drop, well, anytime now. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get into this video though, we need to understand what this image is. We'll get onto that later on, but we need to understand how Blizzard teases content.
And you will not be the last.
You are bold to come to Shimara Castle, the den of your enemies.
This was once my home. Did your masters not tell you who I was?
I know who you are, Hanzo. I know you come here every year on the same day. You risk so much to honor someone you murdered.
What a cinematic that was. Dragons is beautiful. So what were we looking at in that clip? Well, basically, there was the arrow strike into the ground, and then there was the arrows which hit the lantern. This is environmental damage to the map, which was added before that cinematic dropped. We couldn't have known that it was going to be a fight between Hanzo and Genji, but obviously we knew Hanzo was involved because it's his arrows. This was added before the cinematic dropped, so it was a teaser. And this is kind of typical Blizzard style. They do things in advance, sometimes to tease new content. Much like this poster here in the Hanamura arcade spawn, this is D.Va. This was in the game way before D.Va was actually launched, way before she was playable. This, again, it's just evidence as to, well, Blizzard teasing things before they actually go live.
The Overwatch agent database. Extraction at 32%.
So the first cinematic, Recall, well, this is an interesting one because you'll notice the window was smashed behind Reaper there in the cinematic. This was as Winston goes into primal rage and throws one of the talent agents through the window. He smashes the window. This map damage was added to the map before the cinematic came out. Now again, it's a very loose tie. Like, how would we know that it would be something involving the recall of the Overwatch agents? I don't think we could have. But there was a change in the map. So we know Blizzard have a history of editing the maps sometimes before. They don't do it all the time. Sometimes they edit the maps after the cinematics come out, but sometimes they edit them before, and it gives us clues. And I think as Overwatch develops as a game, as we become more wise as players and we understand the lore better and things like that, we can start to make predictions as to what's actually going to happen. Like a small change in a map, well, it could mean a big thing, much like the image which I teased at the start of this video, which we'll go into detail in a second. But before we do that, we need to look at some more examples of Blizzard teasing content before, well, it actually comes out. Ah, the sight of my finest kill. That was a terrible Widowmaker impression. Widowmaker said that before that clip, or that animated short, actually was released. That was an audio line that was in the game. However, which obviously was an indicator that she assassinates somebody of high importance in King's Row. However, this shrine was not. This was actually added to the game after Mandata was killed, so it makes sense. There wouldn't be a shrine to him there if he wasn't killed. However, there is a massive statue to him in the middle of King's Row on the first point. This has always been there, and this shows you that, well, maybe you could have put two and two together with the Widowmaker line. Ah, this is a sign of my finest kill. I should have just got the audio clip instead of trying to do a dodgy impression myself, but maybe you could have connected them together and thought, okay, well, he's obviously important, this guy, we don't know who he is, but yeah, but it turns out to be Mandata, and she kills him in the Alive cinematic, of course, when Tracer tries to stop her, but she doesn't succeed, and then he dies, and, well, all of that good stuff. I guess it's good stuff, right? Well, it's probably bad stuff for Mandata and Omnic relations because, well, they want rights, but they're robots, so they don't deserve rights, right?
You're late, mija. I've been worried sick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mama, but you won't believe what happened tonight. Los muertos, they came and they took my money.
And then there are the times when I see her smile and the hope in her eyes, and I think maybe I don't need to worry about Alejandra after all.
So this one I'm not entirely sure of. I can't remember. My memory totally fails me. But if you look at the sign above the shop door where Alejandra goes back, which is obviously a parent shop, I don't think this had a name before the cinematic. Maybe it got a name after the cinematic. Maybe it always had a name. I'm not really too sure. However, there is another thing. Well, there's actually two other things on Dorado, which were major indicators to new content. So obviously we had the computer terminals with the Sombra protocol on, which changed to various versions of the Sombra protocol as the ARG was going on and all of that. But there were also documents on one of the tables, which is kind of off to the left here as we go towards one of the computer terminals, which actually said Sombra, and it had Reyes down as well, so that's obviously Reaper, and Soldier 76. So it indicated that somehow they were all connected. And yeah, it turns out that Reaper has been working with Sombra, as we can tell from the infiltration cinematic with Sombra. Iconvolt is also an interesting one as well. Now, I was very, very lucky to be one of the first people outside of Blizzard to play Iconvolt, and Iconvolt has got dead Omnics all over the place, all around the map. Does that point to the Bastion cinematic? Well, yes, it probably would have done if this came out on the PTR before, well, Gamescom, because what they did at Gamescom, they pretty much gave us the map. I got to check the map out and all of that stuff, and then I think it was the next day they shown this the Bastion cinematic, so we didn't really have that long to wait, and it was probably going to be impossible for us to sort of work that out. However, if it was on PTR, maybe we could have been thinking, all right, it's going to be some sort of Bastion-related cinematic because of all these Omnics. So let's go to Numbani, because Numbani is going to be, well, the main focus of all of this stuff. This poster here of Lucio was in the game before Lucio was in the game, right? This is, well, again, it's Blizzard teasing what's going on, but maybe this is teasing more stuff. Maybe this is actually saying the cinematic is the Lucio concept. Now, I spoke about this in the previous video I made, and I was like, yeah, maybe that's what they're going to do, some sort of DJ set is going down in Numbani, somebody tries to steal the gauntlet, and all of that jazz, or, well, it wouldn't really be jazz, would it? It'd be like techno, electronic dance music, or whatever the hell Lucio's into, yes. It'd be that kind of stuff. Maybe that's what's going to happen. But this is the crazy interesting thing. I cannot show you this right now on the PTR because the PTR is down, but what we do have is a model of this Doomfist payload broken, and we're going to look at this right now. This thing here is, well, it's like a wire mesh of the model, and look at this. The gauntlet is smashed. Well, not the gauntlet itself, but the container is smashed. This means the gauntlet is gone. Where the hell is the gauntlet, and why would it be smashed? And could this be a precursor to a new cinematic event? Because we know, based off all the evidence I've just shown you guys, that Blizzard do this all of the time. They change the maps, and then suddenly something happens in the lore, in the world of Overwatch, as a result of that. Now, what's going to happen? Well, it looks like the Doomfist gauntlet is going to be stolen, which kind of doesn't really make much sense, right? Why would we sort of be delivering a payload that's got no Doomfist in it? That's going to be weird, and it kind of defeats the object maybe of Numbani as a map. But most of the maps are a bit weird if you look at them. I mean, if you look at Iconvolt, why are we transporting a battering ram to an old set of armor? You know, it's like, what? I think it's Baldric's armor, Reinhardt's old boss. It's like, what? Why would we be? So there really is no kind of point. Some of the maps do make sense, or some of them are quite bad. Like King's Row, for example, you're delivering an EMP to kill all the Omnics at the end of the map, which is a bit brutal, but whatever. So yeah, it's a bit weird that the gauntlet container would be broken. So this either means one of two things. It means we are going to get a cinematic where this gauntlet container is smashed and it's taken out, and whoever the hell the new Doomfist is turns up in the cinematic, and somehow it's related to Lucio because he's putting a show on in Numbani, and it'll probably be based in Numbani as well, obviously. The other thing is, it could be something really simple. It could actually just be a slight change to the model, so, I don't know, when you deliver it at the end, it gets smashed out of its container and put into the sort of containment field that we're going to see here, but I don't think it will, because that doesn't really make sense. Like, why take it out of its container to put it into a container? And is this even a containment field, or just a 3D sort of hologram of the gauntlet? I think it's just a hologram, right? So I think we're looking at the precursor here to a Doomfist cinematic, which I think is gonna, well, I think it's gonna drop in March. At least that's what I'm hoping, because we're probably looking at the end of the competitive season very soon. So that means they're going to start dropping new content. That means they're going to start dropping new heroes. So we might actually be playing Doomfist in March, and we might actually get a beautiful Doomfist cinematic around about the same time. This is insane. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I absolutely love this kind of looking around for clues and what's going on and all of that stuff. It's beautiful. It's absolutely wonderful. All right, guys, I've been Stylosa. This is Unit Lost, and yeah, oh my god. I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Toodaloo.